You've probably noticed that lawyers tend not to answer a question directly. It's always a, well, that depends. They don't say, well, yes or no. And it seems evasive, but there's reasons that lawyers answer questions or don't answer questions. And so I'm going to go into that today. To a lawyer in any kind of a legal situation, whether it's a trial or even talking to a prosecutor, whatever, you have to be aware that every question is potentially a trap. So if a prosecutor says to me, well, surely, Mr. Segal, you know where your client was that night. Well, that's a trap. Why is it a trap? Well, because if I say, yes, I do, well, I'm giving him information. So how do you respond to that? Gee, Mr. Prosecutor, that really depends on what you're asking me. If you're asking me, did my client tell me where he was? Well, of course, that's attorney-client privilege, and I couldn't share that information. If you're asking me if I know where he was, well, I wasn't there. I have no personal knowledge of anything that happened. And I'm not going to reveal to you any attorney-client privilege, and you know better than to ask that. So again, lawyers are very cautious. We don't want to get trapped into something. Another thing that we lawyers try to do is we think in our head, well, why is the question being asked? Why do we do this? Of course, because we don't want to get boxed in. We want to know what's the reason for this and what's the possible response. Let me give you an example. A person says, I grabbed him. Now, a lawyer's going to say, oh, so you were the first person to make contact? What the lawyer is doing there is they are reframing it, reframing the answer or even the question. If he said, well, I think I pushed, whatever, they're going to reframe it and try to use it in a way that benefits their issue, their case. I understand there's a reason people don't like lawyers, and part of it is the things that we do, the tactics that we use in trying to control a narrative. It is part of the job. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but it's part of trying to be effective as an attorney and an advocate for our clients. Another thing lawyers do is we try to answer the real question. We're more interested in giving a precise answer than a speedy answer. You've all heard the old saying that lawyers are more interested in precision than speed in answering a question. Why is that? Well, you've all heard the old saying that fools rush in where angels fear to tread. My grandmother used to say that there's certain things that can't be taken back. One of them was a sneeze, a kiss. The other one, the spoken word. Once it's out there, you don't want to be in damage control mode. So we are trying to think before we answer, and we don't want to answer fast. We want to answer correctly. As I said at the very beginning, we look at things as to, is it potentially a trap? And we don't want either ourselves or our clients to fall into that trap. We're not trying to be evasive. We're trying to be accurate. Hope this helps you in at least understanding a little bit about how lawyers think. If you want to be nice to me, which of course I hope you do, hit the like button. The most popular video I ever did was how to think like a lawyer in 3 easy steps. You might want to go see that because that explains in more detail and different